What's going on, guys? I wanted to update the diet video because at the end of 2021, I ended up in the hospital with food stuck in my throat. And what I was eating was the cause. So I wanted to update that video and just give you some high-level guidelines on how to eat to beat CPPS and avoid those problems. So here's the story. It was late 2021. It was December 2021, and we're eating pork, and pork can be pretty dry, and I don't properly chew my food at that time. And for years I've been having trouble swallowing. Well, this time it gets stuck, and I cannot get it down. So we ended up calling the ambulance, and they're like, yeah, we can't do anything. We can give you a ride to the hospital, or you can have your wife drive you. And we get there, they can't get me to vomit it up. They have to go down, they have to put me under, shove a tube down my throat, push the stuff down. While they're down there, they've got a camera down there because they've done this before. And they notice two things going on: a hiatal hernia and a ring of inflammation in my esophagus. It's called eosinophilial esophagitis. These things don't just happen out of nowhere. So the next morning, it's 6 a.m. and I'm up and I'm researching how did this happen. And since then, as recently as a few weeks ago, I've made continuous dietary changes. I wanted to share those with you. So this video will be a high-level overview of what I would recommend to help you beat CPPS, be at your healthiest, what's worked for me, and I'll share some resources in there as well. So the first rule is do your own research and do your own experimenting. The research is continuously changing, the trends change. I mean, when I started, it was paleo, then it was keto. Now what's really in is both carnivore and intermittent fasting. Tried all of these. Here's another thing to consider though. Your body has different genetics than mine. So while I'm going to recommend a number of resources, I think you should question all of them, question what I say, test it for yourself, see what you think. All right, the second rule. You should eat to minimize inflammation. I would say that what you don't eat matters more than what you do eat. And the three big contributors of inflammation are grains, sugars, and alcohol. So you gotta cut those down or cut them out. And like any injury, inflammation makes it worse, right? The pain is worse, the symptoms are worse. Now, my experience with this is when I started paleo, I had a friend who lost like 50 pounds in a month and it was amazing, so I tried it. And we trained mixed martial arts together. I used to come home from mixed martial arts and I'd be like, there's like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or like a Gollum, like I could barely move. When I cut out eating oatmeal before bed, like a heap of oatmeal, when I cut out bread, when I cut down my sugars, that just went away. Like I didn't have this problem anymore and I felt better. I felt more energetic, I felt more flexible and faster. It was great. Oh, and the converse is true. When you eat a ton of sugar, I mean, note how you feel. Eat a ton of it and see how your body feels. Like your injuries, your CPPS will get worse. Another thing about sugar, it can cause small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. If you cut down the sugar, the bacteria has less to eat. If you have any kind of bacterial infection, it's good to cut down your sugars and grains. It gives them less to go on, less nourishment. Also, heavy consumption of alcohol will increase inflammation, but at the same time, I do recommend having a day here and there where you have a sweet or have a drink. Maybe when you're getting started, you go real hard and strict just to get those changes in line and get your body adapted to it. But after that, live a little. As for resources, I'd like to show you Why We Get Fat by Gary Taubes. Great book, great read, very convincing argument that also happened to work for me. And Mark's Daily Apple. This is my favorite blog with free and easy ways to apply this way of living. Second guideline, try low carb or keto. Some people can get vegetarian to work for them. I'm not one of those people. My argument against vegetarian is that we have forward-facing eyes, we have canines, we're meant to eat meat. It's probably not the only thing we're meant to eat. In fact, my own experience with cabbage seems to suggest that. So for me, that means sticking to meats, eggs, and fresh vegetables. These things don't cause inflammation, and they're healthy sources of fats and proteins. I should tell you again, I tried carnivore. That's where I got plugged. That's where I ended up adding the cabbage back in. I only did it for like a couple of weeks. I may not have let my body adapt. I may have had SIBO at the time. That's that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So maybe I didn't have the right gut flora to get into it. But I don't regret adding some cruciferous vegetables back into my diet. I feel pretty good. So for resources, I'd like to share Dr. Berry. And again, Mark's Daily Apple. And don't worry about learning everything. Just do your best as you go and learn gradually. All right, my third guideline. Try cutting out dairy altogether. If you got like the constant cough thing or allergies that are really bad, definitely try cutting down or eliminating your dairy. Now, I used to recommend dairy because it's a really inexpensive source of protein and fats. But after the whole throat thing, food stuck in my throat, stupidest way to die ever, I tested a lot of different foods. I went on an elimination diet, and dairy caused me big problems. In fact, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I had some mac and cheese that has whey protein in it, and I had a full-blown allergic reaction. This may not be you. This might just be me. I think I gave myself an allergy because every night before bed, I would have a whey protein shake for like probably close to 20 years. Until I finally started having these reactions and until I finally figured out this stuff's causing me problems. So it could be just me and dairy. On the other hand, there are a lot of Americans who say they have problems with dairy, but when they go to Europe, they eat the dairy and eat the cheese, drink the milk, no problems. So it could be that Americans poisoned their own stupid food. I have tried organic dairy, doesn't make a difference. I've tried some raw milk, I'm not sure on that. Here's a couple resources on this. Dr. Berry again, some good stuff on there. And a note about Mark's Daily Apple, he does use some dairy products. I have since stopped, but again, if you can do it, you can do it. The next guideline, try intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a way to give your body a break to heal and recover. Yes, it's trendy. It's been good for me, and the reason I got into it is because I was still having problems with indigestion, acid reflux. I started skipping breakfast because I found that if I only ate 2 meals a day, and I do occasionally have some snacks, I had fewer problems with GERD, acid reflux, all of those things. Also, it gives you a little more what's called metabolic flexibility. You can go longer without eating. So some resources on intermittent fasting include the book 2 Meals a Day, which is by Mark Sisson from Mark's Daily Apple. The next guideline, do not overeat. Overeating probably led to many of my digestive issues. In fact, I don't even know if I'd have the dairy issue if I wasn't overeating it all the time. So I would constantly keep myself full. Before bed, I'd have 2 scoops of delicious whey protein. Eventually, I switched that for pea protein. It was still causing me problems. I was just putting too much in my belly all the time. And at meals, I would eat to where I was like sleepy. Don't do that. Eat to about 80% full. You're gonna feel lighter. You're gonna feel faster. You're not gonna crash as hard. It's pretty awesome once you get there. It's hard to adapt to at first. You're used to eating more. Your body's like, well, we can put more in there. But eventually, if you're eating a nutrient-dense diet, high in fats, high in proteins, it gets easier and easier until it's like normal. And then you find that you can't eat as much as you used to do, which is good, right? And then you lose weight and you have the same amount of energy. So for resources, I would look up research on the Japanese practice of hara hachibu, or you can just look up eat to 80% full. The easiest way to practice this is don't overload your plate. And once you start feeling full, slow down, push away the plate. Also, chew your food. Chew your food really well. That helps. The next guideline is listen to your gut. So when you're at your best, it's likely that your gut motility is at its best, which means that you're swallowing and digesting and pooping without problems. That's been a problem for me lately. And all of the things I mentioned before, they help with this. But there are some more things you can do. The 2 big ones I've tried are apple cider vinegar. Yes, it sounds like a crazy trend, but it works. It worked for me. It's worked for a lot of people. And the other thing to try is probiotics, especially if you're having acute problems right now, constipation or diarrhea or trouble swallowing. Get some good probiotics. See if they don't make a difference. Another factor in your gut motility is stress. If you're stressed out, I don't know why, but just like your muscles in CPPS, your pelvic muscles, your gut will clench and it'll slow things down. You can get plugged up. So do what you can to reduce your stress. Do some things you love. When you go to sleep, don't worry about going to sleep. Be like, I'm just gonna take a rest and let my mind think about things that I like. And if you want to learn more, I highly recommend Dr. Ruscio's book. His book is Healthy Gut, Healthy You. And it was Dr. Berg, who I also highly recommend, who taught me about apple cider vinegar, which can make a big difference in your digestion right away, and it's cheap. So if you're thinking of changing your diet to attack CPPS and reduce your inflammation, I'd say just pick one of these resources. Check them out, be like, I like that guy, I don't care as much for that guy. And then go from there, implement it little by little, don't overwhelm yourself. You're gonna make it, you're gonna figure it all out, you're gonna get really smart at all this stuff. It's a lifelong pursuit. Keep your knuckles up.